Why, hello there everyone. I'm Laxow, aka the Kumo Sensei. 皆さん、おはようございます。And today we're working with Monocentropus Balfouri, also known as the Socotra Island blue-leg baboon tarantula. So today I'm checking up on these specimens, and these specimens are getting larger, so I do need to rehouse them in the future, and some of these are approaching mature sizes to where I should breed them in the future as well. But let us wait and see, right? Because I've already paired 3 already, and I am going to pair my 4th one pretty soon. So I don't really need to pair up any more Monocentropus Balfouri. And for those who are new to my channel, and for those who are watching this video for the first time, I'm a tarantula breeder, and I actually breed Monocentropus Balfouri pretty much very frequently every year. So I'm going to have a lot of M. Balfouris, and usually I just wholesale a lot of them away, and I have so many M. Balfouris to the point where I pretty much don't need any new bloodline for a while. But like I always say, new bloodline would never hurt. So a lot of these Monocentropus Balfouri that you're seeing in this video, a lot of them are either freshly molted or in pre-molt, so they're not going to eat, but I will try to get them to eat for those that are hungry. And I will say this, when it comes to this species, they're not necessarily the best eaters. And I'm not saying they're all horrible eaters. Some people may have specimens that are better eaters than others, but for the most part though, in my experience, usually it's hit or miss when it comes to feeding Monocentropus Balfouri. Now, if they're kept as a communal, they do eat better in my experience, but I usually separate my M. Balfouris because I'm a tarantula breeder, and I do have to take records of their growth rates, their feeding schedules, etc. And if I kept all of them communally, I wouldn't know which tarantula is which, and keeping up with the data and everything will make it much more difficult. So I usually keep mine separate, and although I do have some specimens that are kept communally in my collection, I usually just keep those as pets only and not as future breeders. But these here that you're seeing are all future breeders, so these specimens here will find a male or a female once they're fully matured out. And when it comes to my breeding experience with this species, they're pretty much the easiest tarantulas to breed in the world. Like, I've worked with a lot of species, but when it comes to tarantula breeding and pairing up, these are pretty much the easiest ones to go to when it comes to old world tarantulas. And that's really all I gotta say about the Monocentropus Balfouri in this video. It's pretty much straightforward, pretty much just checking up on these, and yeah, nothing too serious. And I also do want to answer some comments that I get from my emails and from my comment section. So let us begin. So in my last video, I did talk about wanting to breed my Brachypelma bomei because when it comes to that Brachypelma species, it is very saturated in the market. Now, someone did make a comment stating that I should give them out as freebies, and while I do not mind giving out freebies if I do sell tarantulas in the future as a business, freebies should never be counted as live arrival guarantee. And allow me to explain, when you give out freebies, it really comes at the cost of the breeder, not necessarily out of the cost of the buyer who's buying the slings from you. So if you do get a freebie and it doesn't come out alive during the shipping process, honestly, there's nothing you can really do about it. I know a lot of customers will probably file a complaint or ask for a replacement for a freebie, but that's the thing about freebies, it really comes at the expense of the breeder, not necessarily the customer, because the customer didn't really pay to get the freebie. It's more so of a free gift with the purchase. And I've seen a lot of customers get mad at tarantula sellers and breeders because their freebies didn't make it. And honestly, while it is understandable that your freebie didn't make it, at the same time, you can't really count the seller liable for freebies because it came at their expense. So this is not me trying to down talk anyone here. This is just me, my honest opinion from what I've seen, and as a tarantula breeder myself. And I really just hope that everyone understands where I'm coming from. I don't have any malicious intent or anything of that nature. I'm just trying to be transparent, so that way you as a customer in the future, whenever you do buy a tarantula and it doesn't come out alive when it comes to a freebie, you kind of understand where I'm coming from. But I hope that answers the question about the Brachypelma bomei if I do breed it in the future and it does have slings and whatnot. Now let us move on to the next question. And this one came through my email, and it is from a kid, which is pretty interesting knowing that my audience is pretty much all over the place in terms of age, meaning that it's universal, so it's not just to young people or to old people, it's pretty much everyone in the mix. But without further ado, let me answer this question. So this individual pretty much asked about the question of building blocks for breeding. What species will I start at if I was to start over again? And honestly, there's about 5 species I would probably consider, and that is Brachypelma auratum, Brachypelma amelia, and if you want something that's faster growing, I'll probably consider the Neoholotilla insei and also the Samopoeis armenia. and I think those are pretty nice. And if you're going for one old world, probably OBT or Monocentropus balfouri. Now, I'm not saying this is the money-making tarantula species to go to if you're starting a building block for your tarantula breeding projects and whatnot. It's just something I would prefer. And hey, to each their own. But I would like to know what species you would consider to be a good building block for a beginner tarantula breeder and beginner tarantula keeper, because that would be pretty interesting to hear what everybody wants to start with, or what everyone thinks should be or will be a good building block. But I hope that answers the question about building blocks and tarantulas. Now let us move on to the next question. This is a question that was posted fairly recently on an older video of mine, and that is asking, why don't I do more unboxings? And that is because I'm currently breeding tarantulas, and I can't actually afford to unbox more tarantulas if I'm going to use that space up for more slings that I produce. So this is a very straightforward answer, honestly, but I really hope everyone understands this, so that's why I'm not unboxing more tarantulas. And while I do have some space for other stuff, it's not necessarily tarantulas, if you understand what I'm saying, such as space for my frogs, such as Dandelion and Bobo, and those kind of things. So in the future, there's going to be less unboxings and more XX. So either way, I'm going to get more slings or more tarantulas in my collection. So stay tuned and stick around. Now I am actually breeding tarantulas behind the scenes, but I'm not really recording them because, as I stated last time, I just don't have time, and I've been super busy lately to where I don't have time to actually record those breeding videos. When I'm breeding tarantulas, at times it could take hours, and honestly I don't have hours to spend when it comes to trying to get good video quality of just waiting for two tarantulas to pair up. But if there is an exact, or if something does happen in the future though, I will update it here on this channel, so fingers crossed and let us hope for the best. Now I may actually post some of the behind the scenes tarantula breedings and stuff on my Patreon. So if you want to go support my Patreon, by all means feel free to do so. I'll leave a link down below if you want to go check it out in the description. And that's all of the questions I've gotten recently. Nothing too much, but honestly really good questions overall. So now let us move on and allow me to talk about some of my personal time. So I have been busy lately to the point where I don't have time to actually create content for my Patreon, but now that I do have a bit of free time now, I am going to start posting more stuff on Patreon, and it's going to be some interesting stuff, some experimental stuff, and behind the scenes stuff. So if you really want to support me as a content creator and as a tarantula breeder, by all means feel free to support my Patreon down below. Now I think I do have a bit of free time to where I can actually record a breeding project or two. Maybe my Monocentropus balfouri. I'll probably do a breeding video on that if I could get the day off to where I do have enough time to do so. But honestly, the biggest concern I have is really just time management, because I'm working different jobs, doing things here and there, and yeah, it's pretty hectic at times because I'm a dance instructor, a stage actor, I am working a convenience store job, and also doing this, the tarantula stuff that is. And also some side gigs here and there on the internet just to get a little bit of an extra paycheck. Well, not a paycheck, but a little bit of an extra payment under the counter and whatnot. And I also want to make something kind of clear. I do not get paid on YouTube or on this channel by any means. So really, honestly, I'm just creating content for free for you viewers because I enjoy it. I'm not looking for any, what is the right word? Any monetization or any monetary value for that matter. Is really just me being passionate and posting videos for you viewers. And honestly, like I stated, wherever this channel goes, as long as I enjoy it and as long as it doesn't feel like a job, then I'll continue making videos for you viewers. But lo and behold, it's been over 5 years and I'm still here, which is honestly a blessing because I honestly thought that I would quit YouTube, but to look at us now, 5 years later, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers, and I'm truly thankful for the journey and for everyone who has pretty much joined in on it because, like, compared to a lot of other channels, they're already at 1,000 subs and they've been around for less time than I have. And honestly, my contributions have been quite a bit behind the scenes, because I've been a private tarantula breeder, and I really do hope that in the future I can show you more of the things that goes on for us tarantula breeders, because that's pretty much the thing that is lacking in terms of YouTube content for tarantula breeders and keepers. But yeah, I guess I'll call this a video. So without further ado, as the typical, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I upload every single Tuesday and Friday here on this channel, and also support me on my social medias such as my IG and Patreon. Shout out to my Patreon members for keeping my tarantulas fed, and stick around for exclusive content on Patreon. And with that, stay lax and Laxow out from the Kumo Sensei.